Welcome to the Listen to This Bull live show. This is the show where we talk about bullshit in the insurance world, and we do it live so you can ask questions and give us commentary. All you got to do is put it into the chat box from wherever you're watching this at. Might be YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. So, right now, I'm sitting here all by myself. Remington is on his way to RoofCon. I'll be there tomorrow. But I wanted to do something real quick before I got started with the man versus machine part of this episode. I just got a package from Hook Agency, which is one of our sponsors for the show. So I thought we might open this thing up together real quick. Mostly because I'm lazy and I don't want to make a separate video. Is that wrong? I don't know. But there's some cool stuff. I did rip it open. I don't actually know what's in here just yet. Oh yeah, I remember him showing me these. We got a shirt that looks like it's going to be part of a band or something. And then the back of this thing has normally you'd have like tour dates and stuff. Somewhere around here is going to be yep, all the way at the bottom. Advanced Claims Training, Building Experts Institute. There's that logo. I'm pretty excited about that. Hook Agency really hooked us up with this one. It's actually a decent quality shirt too. There's more stuff in here though. Some additional packaged items and a card. Help us give away more shirts at RoofCon. Tag us on Facebook at Hook Agency in yours. You're a rock star. Roofing rock stars. You know what they're doing at freaking RoofCon? They're giving people tattoos of their logos at our roofing expo. I don't know what kind of quality tattoo artist that person's going to be or people, but that makes me nervous as hell. I don't know if I'd be up for that. Nathan Hiltman. What up, Matt? I enjoyed the class I took from you in Florida. You helped me gain a good base of knowledge. Hope we can collaborate on some content someday. Oh, yeah, we can. Oh, I got a chocolate guitar, which I promptly broke. And I didn't do it in a cool way where I finished the song and just started banging it against my amp or something. I just broke it. I'm going to eat that during the show. One more little package inside of here. I bet it's more chocolate. I'm going to break it trying to open it again. Use your knife, Matt. That's why you carry one. There we go. It is. Oh, it is more chocolate. And I did break it. They're both guitars. Two chocolate guitars. And it says I'm a rock star. This is pretty cool. See, that's why I like Hook Agency. They freaking send me cool shit. But then it's very themey. I got chocolate guitars and I got a rock star t-shirt. I like it. Now I just got to get a tattoo of my logo at their booth at RoofCon on Thursday, which isn't going to happen unless I watch somebody else get one first. Eric Road says there should be a Metallica shirt. That would be cool. I like Metallica. I really like Symphony of Metallica. Have they done Symphony of Metallica with their newer songs? I don't know. I used to jam out to Symphony of Metallica on my way to work every day. All right, so I've got Phil Pratt with Zeitview waiting in the wings. What we've done is pretty cool. We decided to do a man versus machine, like a modern day Paul Bunyan kind of a deal, where it was me versus a drone. Need the wife's permission. What, for the tattoos? Yeah, I think he'd be okay with it. But if it comes back looking god awful, I think he would just laugh at me. I need your permission for a motorcycle. That's what I've been told. All right, let me get this show started then. We'll start it like this. Hey, Phil, how's it going?
Good, Matt. How are you, man?
We're doing good. So you and I decided we were going to compete against each other. And Fiesel The roofing company Feasel helped us out, gave us a roof to go get on in Ohio while I was out there at one of John Senek's deals. You met me out there and you flew your drone and used Zeitview to do a report. And I did a traditional report where I went up and I investigated. And there were a few things that we were competing on, a few different metrics. Do you want to give a little bit of insight of what it is we were trying to do while I start eating broken chocolate?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to start it off by tossing this out there. I think we do a poll at the end of this, and the loser has to get the other
Oh, I like
person's
that.
logo in Tim's
Oh
booth.
God, I don't like that. No, that's a terrible idea.
Come on. I get the bull. The bull's pretty good. It's got a good
Paint your
logo.
logo on me. I'm not gonna get an actual tattoo. Your logo.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we were looking at, a few different things. A lot of roofing sales companies out there have different workflows for different types of inspections. You've got the ones where you're out you're canvassing, you're trying to gain those inspections. You've got storm inspections when you get out and you really have to get detailed. Then you have the good ones when the engineering companies get involved, and you got to have that extra level of expertise that goes along with it. But we were testing out the traditional boots on the roof against the technology that is quickly advancing today in our industry. And so we were looking at speed, quality, just overall presentation to be able to work with the homeowner. At the end of the day, if I'm just trying to get a contract signed, that's one thing. If I'm looking for a very detailed report to be able to argue some of these cases against carriers, if that ever came up, that's another thing. But we were looking at all different types of aspects.
I mean, there's going to be pros and cons for sure, but there's going to be, there's got to be a clear winner at the end of this. And I don't see how a drone could win over a guy with a really cool hat. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's even possible.
I'm happy to dig in. I know that hat was awful sweaty by the time you were done. I don't know how many other inspections you could have got in that day. I was relaxed, sitting back. I think I did a couple of inspections while you were up there.
Okay. Well, how do you want to start this? You want to go you started the inspection. We waited till you were done before I got up there and did my inspection.
Okay.
But you want to show off your inspection first?
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me share my screen.
Is there a present button on your end?
There is.
Good. That'll make it easy.
And share screen. Entire screen.
Unless you want to show the video that you put together.
Oh, we're gonna edit that up and get a full video of. So we recorded the entire process. Me getting out of the there was a lot of production involved in this. Matt's a seasoned professional at making these videos, but hopping out of the car, we started our timer as soon as we got out. My objective was to set up the inspection, fly it, upload it, analyze the data, and be able to generate a report quickly to be able to speak to the homeowner or speak to, I think actually at the time, you can see it in the picture, there was a ladder assist that showed up while we were out there. So it would have been, a perfect time to sit down and review everything that was found in our system with him at that time. And there's a couple other things to this, and we'll get into it after this was flown. We've got other partners that are involved in this, and we're going to discuss them as well. But what you're looking at here, actually, there's two. I told you I did a couple inspections. We'll look at the initial one first. But every time you inspect a property inside of our platform, they're time, date stamped and stored in your dashboard, so you can always go back and look. Now, both of these are on the same day. This right here is going to be an example of a quick down and dirty, get it up, fly it, and generate that report. What did we do it in total? And to hand the report over.
Your timing was what, just under 13 minutes for your drone inspection. Now, but you also put it back up in the air later on.
I did, and then we can discuss that too, because that's going to get into where some of your world and my world overlap.
Right. I think you might have cheated a little bit, possibly.
Yeah,
maybe a little.
Of course, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right?
I only got on the roof one time.
Yeah. All right. So what you're seeing here, again, this was a report that was able to be handed to a homeowner in under 30 minutes from walking onto the property. You can either sit down with them and go over it inside of the dashboard. You can share a digital version of this, or you can just give them a PDF. I got to ask, did you make this annotation on here?
I did not. I
must have.
Call the authorities. That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so what comes with these right out the gate? This is a lot of this is just templated. So there on the on-site version, you're not going to see a stitched together model. You'll see the satellite version of the property you're on. How many anomalies that we tagged, existing weather data, since we are looking at storm, we wanted to include that. Now it's not very big, but it also helps us when we dig deeper into this a little bit, Matt. It helps us kind of understand why the shingles look like they look, or why the metals up there look like they do. It's not, you're not going to see your typical massive, bruises, but there's a lot of granule loss. There's areas where, it looks like it's been beat up a little bit more than what a normal roof at that age would look like. But we also have on here, so estimated remaining usable life. Anytime it's storm, it usually defaults to like 0 to 3, depending on, and that is, again, that part is subjective, but it's a good indicator for the homeowner that it's time to move forward.
I mean, let's be fair. Everything that I do is subjective as well. It's based on my own experiences and what I believe something is or isn't. So there's got to be subjective issues one way or the other.
Right. You're going to have some. You're going to have some. But so what you see here, this is the report that was generated in under 30 minutes from being on site. You're going to have your collateral images first. 30-minute
generated report. You didn't manipulate this report at all, right?
Not one bit. I did tag these items, but it automatically dumps them into these little buckets. So you're going to have a close-up where it is on the roof, or where it is on the slope, where it is on the roof, and then a brief little write-up about it. And then wherever we did like test squares, I should have filtered some of these out, but every time you do a test square, it will give you the overview and then some close-up images.
Is that the test square then? Scroll up just slightly.
It was supposed to be in this area, but I added it just for show. But okay. There's 4 that were detected in the with the AI. All we did was confirm those. It dropped them into the report. And this is something that we can sit down and have a discussion with the homeowner very shortly after the the inspection was done. Mm-hmm. What is not on here is everybody that uses our software, it's branded for their company. So everything customer facing is going to have your logos. We have different templates that you can build out. But it is a very clean, easy to generate report. So you can either look at it in the dashboard, or you can look at it here.
Okay.
That's the first one.
That was the first one. All right. So let's pause there.
Okay.
That was your initial report. You did a 10 to 13 minute inspection. That printed out. If you were going to go and convince the policyholder that there possibly was a claim based on that report, would you have said that there was a worthwhile claim?
From what I saw there, I do have some areas that look like they have been affected with hail. We've got dents on the vents. We've got test squares that do show some indications of hail. We also have on the metal here on the roof, we do have dings on the roof. That's enough for me personally to feel comfortable moving forward. Now we did once we ran the report, we saw that it was 3/4 inch, but I still don't feel that 3/4 inch is going to hold us up on this. Now that was just the initial report, something to push the process along, to be able to show a quick overview of what's going on the roof with the homeowner.
Got you. So that quick report is really, a sales tool.
Yes, it is a
Right?
sales tool.
It's
And then
not
you can take them in
necessarily a
here
tool
and fill
for
out.
insurance carriers. And when you went further and made a full report, how long did it take you to finalize that?
Well, it was sitting down at my desk and not just working on the iPad on site. So typically these take me maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm in a controlled area where I'm not distracted and I can sit down and really dig in. And I could have done that on site, but
Sure.
for the purpose of what we were doing was with speed, I was at least going to win that one. I was going to beat you on that
Won
one.
the inspection on site speed.
Site speed, I got that one. But
Site speed.
yeah, so it took me roughly 10 to 15 minutes to generate this report. And your summaries come out very clean. Here's the details on the stuff that we want either the homeowners or the adjusters to be able to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But we can also dig in, and you can talk through this too, because when I did this, you were still up on the roof taking your doing your test squares. And
So
so
I
wanted,
actually want to pause your inspection for that reason and actually go through mine real quick, and then we'll go
let's
back
do
to
it.
how you edited yours after the fact, because mine was done when I was done, but I was up there for longer. How long did it take me?
Right around an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. And I did all the elevations, use in
So
the
you
roof.
chalk that, chalk down here. You were much more detailed. I'll give you that.
Yes. Now, what I what I will give as a caveat, normally if I do an inspection, I would also create a report. People hire me to do expert reports all the time, and it would have a report that looks very similar to an engineer's report. I didn't do this for this claim because I wanted this to be what the average person does, maybe the average PA, the average roofer, where you get up, you do a photo inspection, you take your time making sure those photos are labeled well enough, and then that's usually all that is ever sent in. So that's what I did for this. But I do believe that you should follow up with an actual report at that point. So here is my
Here's the
inspection.
report that was generated off of that one.
Right. So I start with the mailbox. I found a dent in the mailbox. I put my flashlight going across it. You can see a dent, and if you look closely enough, you'll even see a break in the paint. Now, that's collateral damage right there on the mailbox. There it is. There's a front elevation, and I didn't find anything on the garage door. I spent some time because I wanted to. So that's how I indicate to myself that I actually investigated it. Put my hand up and make a little zero. That way I know when I go through my photos, I didn't forget to look at that. Make my inspectors do this as well, or used to when I owned All Good Adjustments. I got spatter marks on the light sconce. Spatter on south side. I get to identify the directionality. Now, as far as the directionality goes, I was told which direction was which by a guy that had a drone. It turns out he was wrong. So my directionality on this is wrong. However, if you guys are going to use this as a good idea of what you should look for, directionality is important when it comes to hail claims. You want to show if something is only on one side, you want to say what side that's on. And that will help you identify what storm it came through or came from. Because storms don't always come from the same direction. Be very beneficial. So I've got a lot of the personal property items. I've got some measurements of things. There is the bay window. Tried to get a little indentation right here in that bay window in the light. Flashlight didn't get up there well enough, but you can see in my photo image, maybe you can't on that little screen, but when I zoom in, there's indentations that are there, and I can point to them without having any issues. If I don't point to them, like his Zeitview thing with the squares all over it, it won't work out. So I'm on the right-hand elevation, no damage on that gutter. There's a break in this really old plastic vent. I found the same gutter damage. I didn't find any spatter on this, but then I wrote no spatter possible because I took my finger and I went, meep, and nothing happened. It didn't show up. If I can't make a mark with my finger, hail's not going to leave a mark. So I want to say that there's no spatter possible, not just that there's no spatter. North side of house, no spatter. Now, this is one of those things that I think is a huge benefit to being on site as a person. Even if I'm doing a drone, though, I could do the elevations and still do the markings with my finger to see what would have spatter and what wouldn't. You'd be surprised how often an adjuster or an engineer will say there was no spatter marks or burnish marks or clean spots coincident to the hail indentation. And they'll say it about something that can't have spatter at all because it's not dirty or it's not oxidized. There's no grime. Copper generally doesn't get spatter marks, but they'll say that. So I want to test that and I want to see if it's even possible. Here's my north side, but actually wasn't the north side. No spatter, no damage. I'm looking around the vent, fins, nothing. This is the right-hand side. Nothing on the right-hand side, really. All right, back of the house. Cool ass backyard. We decided not to do the stuff in the backyard because you don't do that with a drone. But there is a lot of personal property back there that the public adjuster would want to get copies of or photos of. And there's definitely a lot of indication of hail damage with different kinds of collateral damages that even a contractor would want to get photos of. But I ignored it. In fairness of the contest.
Hey, it was you versus the drone.
I got dents on this back gutter. I don't know if you caught the back gutter dents.
I did, but they didn't show up as well because you had the flashlight. They were, it was very marginal hail with small dents. And in those white gutters, it was hard to see because, just couldn't get the lighting right. But with a flashlight, there's a huge benefit to, having that.
Yeah. There are, I have a drone, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual, and it has an attachment of a flashlight. You still, it's only showing straight forward, so it still wouldn't work anyway.
You wouldn't get the angle.
Yeah. So, and then I got window screen damage that you can barely see unless you get the photo just right. There it is. See those little white dots, hail marks. I got spatter marks on this concrete pillar. I put my measurement on the largest spatter mark I could find. That's pretty big. Now it could be spatter mark there and a spatter mark there. I really can't tell. Could be spiky hail with two spikes. But the big hail is much more sporadic, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll see.
So just in case it was two marks, I measured both ways. I got spatter marks in the stain coat of the handrails in this deck. Definitely damaging the stain coating. This decking would have to be recoated. Measured all those. It's all over the place. Left-hand side, looking for hail indentations here. There's one right in there. It's probably hard to see on that screen, though. Cladding damages. There's more you can see in the flashlight images here. All right, so now I'm up on the roof. I'm getting my standard, there's my gutter apron. There's actually no felt.
No felt.
Does your drone identify if there's felt?
It does not. It does not. So, I mean, think about it. It's essentially the drone is a tripod holding a camera, and it's going to be able to see anything that the camera can see without having to manipulate the roof.
True. All right. It was OSB deck. I wasn't able to get into the attic. We weren't given the option of getting in the attic on this. Otherwise, I would have done an attic inspection. We would have had all that information there. I was able to measure the shingle. Can the drones measure the shingle yet?
Not as close as that. We were able to pull measurements. We can get linear measurements in the area, but that's pretty doggone close.
So I got a 42-inch wide shingle with a 6-inch exposure. This is enough information for me to attempt to identify it. Worst case scenario, I can at least identify if there is a compatible shingle available, or at least a shingle that's the same size available in today's market. So that information, I can go back to some spreadsheets that we have information. NTS, used to be called Name That Shingle. NTS ID has those kind of spreadsheets available for you as well. Listen to this.
I just throw up the picture on their Facebook page and get somebody else to tell me what it is.
Yeah, they'll do it for you. Or you can send it to NTS ID if you need to. There was an area on this roof with different shingles that I found right here. And it looks like there was a prior repair of some kind. There's some manipulation of these shingles to make them fit. Could have been original installation and the contractor ran out of shingles and they put it in this little area because it's not well viewed. It's kind of in a hidden location. I don't know. I can't tell. All right, now I got my overviews before I mark it. And then we start talking about things like this. Fresh granule loss. I got small hail. Small hail still going to cause damage. What is damage, Phil?
What is damage? That's a very.
How do you know when something's damaged?
I would say I don't know what the actual definition is, but anything that is has deferred from the original product. So if there's anything that has caused it to be, I don't know, any changes to the product from a force, changes.
I like changes. According to courts of law across the U.S., damage, when it's not defined in the policy, physical damage would be defined as a demonstrable, which means demonstratable, detrimental, meaning it got worse, physical alteration, meaning a physical change to tangible property. So a demonstrable, detrimental, physical alteration to tangible property. So anything that changes that property and makes it worse would be considered damage, unless the policy defines it differently or limits the type of damages that are there. And any kind of damage that would be caused by a covered peril would be covered. Granule loss is a covered peril in the vast majority of policies, as long as it's caused by a covered peril. So you got covered damages caused by a covered peril. Granule loss can be caused by wear and tear, can be caused by rain, whatever. If it's caused by hail, that is beyond what rain would normally do. It is all at once in an event. It will rapidly age a shingle. Fresh granule loss is important to note. I wrote fresh because it's fresh. It happened. There's no growth inside of this giant pile of granules. It's only in small areas. I can actually see all the way to the bottom of the gutter. If I were to go down to the downspout and I saw granules sitting on top of fresh vegetation, that would be something I'd want to point out too. This shows that there was an event very recently that caused a lot of granule loss. It's important to note. Granules are covered property too. Now they're gone. The hail stole your granules. Excuse me. All right, so there's all that fresh granules. Able to show spatter marks, measure it, put some chalk on some of these soft metals, and now I've got my test squares, and I'm able to get close-ups of every single hail hit that I find in my test square. And a lot of them are a lot smaller than what you would normally get approved if a ladder assist were to go out, because it was smaller hail. Might have been wind driven, might have just been the fact that the shingle was already to the point where it was starting to lose its granules because of all that granule rash, or the surface rash from all the small hail. So I found a lot more than the initial inspection from Zeitview did. I figured out that front slope was the south side, and I gotta back out and load more photos. We're almost done with my inspection. We'll get to yours. No more photos to load.
Oh no.
True. There we go. North side had the same kind of things. I've got some decent small circular patches of granule loss. There's granule loss all over this thing. Some of them are nail pops. I'm pointing those out. I have some accessories that I'd like to point out that you don't normally see, although you ought to see these on every roof. If you guys don't know what that is an anchor for a rope so that someone could tie off to the roof, and it's left on site. When you perform work on a roof, you're supposed to leave these behind. OSHA wants you to leave these behind installed.
I got a question for you, Matt.
Yep.
Can you go back a few photos to where you were marking the hail? Go back. Yeah, like those. You just went through probably 10 pictures like that. Outside of having it on here, do you have any way to confirm where that image was taken?
Yeah. So I get an overview of my test square with the numbered hail hits in it before I do the close-ups of those numbered hail hits. I know that number 2 in this overview is going to be near the bottom center of this south slope test square. So when I find hit number 2, that's the one. I know where that is in relation to it. That's why I number them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't number them, it doesn't do you any good. And if you don't take a photo of all of them,
a lot
it
of
doesn't do
folks
you
that
any
just
good.
go out in circles. So you would never, if you were to turn in a report with just circles, it could be anywhere.
It could be anywhere. It could be a different roof even.
Yeah.
I could identify based on the shape of my 2 over here that this is the same one. This is where contractors go wrong a lot. Public adjusters go wrong. You really do need to take your time and actually get a good photo of every single one of them. Number as you go. It's easy enough. I like a lot of these because they jump the gap. Got my roof anchor. Now this was a hail hit. I'm curious to see if Zeitview caught. There is an indentation in the top of this cap, and this is one of those flat caps that's very difficult to see the dents in. My chalk is very difficult to see on it as well. So I put a flat object across it, and I showed a flashlight behind it so that you can see light coming out from underneath it where the indentation is.
Now that's detail.
That's the best way to show that there really is an indentation there, because otherwise it's really going to be hard to see. I'm curious to see if Zeitview caught that one.
We'll take a look.
I can tell you this: if there isn't a dent on that, and an engineer says there's no dents on this vent, must be that none of this damage is related to hail. I need to make sure that there's a dent there, or I'm going to have a problem probably.
That's a good point.
When I say make sure there's a dent there, I'm not saying make a dent, guys. Just pointing that out. More spatter, another test square overview with all the numbers and all the up close view of them all, and got some on the hips before I called it a day. So there is my photo report. I sound like a freaking teenager right now because I'm getting over being sick. All right, so let me pull this back out. So, whoa.
Let's see here.
There it goes. Okay. So I did my inspection. It took me an hour and a half. I could turn in that photo report by itself, which a lot of PAs and roofers would do. And I would probably end up winning with that, but I wouldn't win just by sending my report in, because it doesn't really break it down. It just shows a bunch of stuff I circled. It doesn't say anything. What it could do is have a report combined with it with some bullet points. We found hail damage. This is how we defined damage. This is what we found and why we think it happened on that date. That would be a full and proper report, which you could attach these photos to. So, having done that, definitely more detailed than what you had, but it took me an hour and a half. And I had to use company cam. And in order to identify a storm, I had to use a separate program, which I usually use Hail Trace for.
Yeah, and we're partnered with a company called Canopy, who is they are with Hail Trace, so pretty much same company.
Well,
pretty much.
Yes, there's a connection anyway.
There is a connection, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So, if we were just looking at your initial inspection versus my initial inspection, I think I win this one.
I think it's close, but what are we judging on?
I mean, your initial inspection, the very first set. Now, this all changes the second you show your screen again. But the very first inspection, I think you found like 4 hail hits on the front, on the entire front.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
you
I
found the
did not
you
take the
didn't
time.
get any of the spatter marks. You didn't get the damage to the deck. There's a lot of accessories that have been damaged that your program isn't thinking about or trying to
And you know what?
observe.
You make a very good point there too. Before we dive into that, that's something I want to get your opinion on, and we may have talked about it off the podcast in the past. But why, when there's technology out like there is today, and you are going for an insurance claim, and you only climb up on the roof, and you only have circles on the roof, but you don't have documentation of anything else, what are your chances of getting that claim approved if there's no collateral damage?
If there's no collateral damage, you just got circles on the roof, your chances are just about nothing. And depending on what state you're in, anyway, there are some states you can get away with not having any actual real damage just because you're going to win through technicalities. But outside of that frivolous claim scenario, chances are not good that you're going to get it approved without any kind of evidence that an event has actually occurred or any kind of showing of what you circled or why you circled it.
Well, so with that being said, my question to everybody is why do we want to spend the most amount of time proving that we know how to climb on roofs when that's the most dangerous place in the world in our job? They could kill us. It could end our revenue flow, and that doesn't even matter. We need to spend more time looking for the additional items, the collateral, the dents in the downspouts, the spatter, anything else like that. With the technology like we've got, you saw how it worked. You just pretty much hit a button and it flew autonomously over the roof.
It did
While
its
that's
thing.
going on, you're walking around looking for the stuff that's going to get the claim approved, not worrying about the roof, because we can get enough proof from, and we'll look at it here in a minute again, but we can get enough proof from the drone imagery to say, yeah, the roof looks like it has very similar damage that coincides with the date and the collateral damage we found. Let's move forward. I don't understand why people want to spend now, not saying that there's not a place for it, but to go up there on a normal day, knock on a door, get approval to climb up on a roof, then you're going to spend an hour up there circling stuff before you ever spend time even looking to see if this is going to be a valid claim. So that's where I think that there is one advantage to the drone technology versus traditional.
Well, let's keep going. I'm going to reserve my opinion here because I'm still trying to win. But
no, that's okay.
outside of that, I'll say that you have a point. I'm not saying I agree with it just yet. All right, let me put your screen back up.
Okay.
So now I've done my inspections. You get to see all my inspection stuff, and you did a little bit more detail. Was this the same setup? Did you push the same button to have it run the same track just one more
Exactly
time?
the same. But the way ours works is it'll do one pass exactly 10 foot. It'll do another pass at 65 feet above that. And then you have the option to take manual photos. And that's where you really get the, clear images like this. This is where you're going to get all of your details in, where you are having issues. Now that looks mechanical.
Why?
What are your thoughts on that? It's a very.
I can tell you this. Maybe. We every time we say mechanical, we should define what is meant. You're saying that that's probably from a tool mark of something like that, right?
A tool mark, yes.
And it could be. And it's got a scratch on it, it almost looks like. I can tell you this, creases don't always mean mechanical. It depends on the shape of the material. If you hit something that has a bend in it already, it will cause a crease instead of a clean indentation. But scratches are something that would indicate that it's mechanical. Hail is ice, water ice. Water ice is not very hard. It generally won't scratch materials or coatings. So I think that there's indentations here, but you see that one crease on the right-hand side of that?
Right here?
Yeah, right there. So that crease up there, because that material is coming down and it's bent outwards, it's potentially possible because you're so close to that standing seam that could have been a result of an indentation somewhere along that. I'm not saying it was, but I just don't want to rule it out just because there's a crease in it. The scratches I'll rule out.
Got it. No, yeah, that's good. That's really good information. And that's some stuff that some of the technology companies that are building this stuff. Maybe there should be some collaboration with, hey, this right here could also be considered hail. There's always room for improvement in everything that's out there today. But
yeah. All right. So you sent this thing back up to do it again. It looks like you did some manual photos. This would have been a manual photo.
This was a manual photo. Yep. This is another one that I wanted to show because we were talking about the hail was only, now this is easily one that you could have taken up on the roof, but this was done with a drone. But you see how many indentations there are here from the hail impacts. When you were talking about granule loss, you look out in the yard after a hailstorm, and you're not going to see, if it's a 2-inch hailstorm, you're not just going to see 4 or 5 hailstones out there. It's going to be blanketed most of the time, right? So all of these smaller stones that are hitting this roof, what you say it's sometimes it's, or terminal velocity, whatever it is, that's going to be enough to damage that roof, in my opinion. It's going to be enough if it's that concentrated. It's going to knock some of these granules loose.
According to IBHS, 90% of the hail damage that exists is from small hail, 0.75 inch and less. 90% of the hail damage that exists is from 0.75 hail or 75 inch hail and less. And that is a research facility that is paid for by insurance companies. You'll never see their reports. That's what they're saying. And it's because it's generalized granule loss. Small hail is going to, even if every hailstone knocks 1 granule off, looking at that vent, how many hailstones hit that roof? A crap ton.
There was a bunch.
That's why there's so much stuff in those gutters.
Yeah.
Something to consider.
So I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. Now you've seen, we've got plenty of photos. There's 119 images that were taken here. You and I talked about this after you got off the roof, and we had a chance to do a quick look at the data. I really feel like there is definitely a time and place to where both of these things are beneficial when it comes to documentation. You got off of that roof and you had a bunch of images that were on your file folder there. Was the company cam that you were using? And they're individual images. If you had have flown this, now you have everything stored where you're able to go back in. You got 119 images. You see everywhere the pictures were taken. Turn on that. We know where the pictures are taken. We know where all of our anomalies are. We have spatial awareness of where these things were taken. And let's see here. I didn't tag that. I wonder if I've got an image. You were asking about seeing that cap. I don't know if I've got an image there. In your workflow, you have your own pictures that you took, but in this, you're also able to go back, flag images you want to go back and take a closer look at. Anything that you want to annotate, it's right here. Click it.
You want to type a flag to it as you go?
Yeah, you can flag this. Yeah. Say, I want to go back and look at that. And for me, if it's chalked, I like going back and labeling the test squares. So this is test square 3 south. There were 19 hits that we were able to count.
Now your green line is your test square?
Yep.
It's definitely bigger than a...
It was a little bit bigger. I would drink it.
I wonder how often an adjuster would care about that. If my markings weren't there, no one would know that that's not a 10 by 10 unless they really spent the time trying to count.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, you've got some of the stuff that I marked, your drone has now marked, and it's marked some things that I didn't mark. And there's a few on there that I marked that yours didn't as well.
I'm trying to see.
Now that's a front slopes over the garage and the front door. I never even got on. Your drone was able to get to those fairly easily. Me moving a ladder around to get to every individualized roof section that was completely separated would have been very time consuming.
Where was
Every time I
the
get on
piece
and off a
that
ladder,
you said was,
it's very dangerous.
didn't you say
You
that
don't
they had
like
a
it.
repair somewhere? Was it there?
That was on the right-hand side. I think you're on the front slopes right now.
Oh, you say that was on the right-hand side? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the front slopes.
Yeah. So you got
Now,
some
I do want to
anomalies
talk a
there.
little bit about the AI.
Sure.
And we had an episode about this a couple months ago. You can see that this is definitely marking some stuff that I would not consider. But if you were to turn it off, yeah, I can see a couple big ones. The benefit of AI is instead of me sitting here going through and saying, I mark this, drop it on there, and say this is storm, potential hail, severity, say critical, appropriate action to be taken to mitigate any future damage. I could do that, or the AI, it's not saying that all of this is hail. It's helping me get to it quicker and helping me move through that inspection. I said I did this in probably about 15 minutes. I can go through here, say, all right, that one definitely looks like it could be, and I can either mark them one by one, or I can just let the system decide what it wants. I can drop, drag, click it, confirm, and then it's going to pick the four most prevalent hail impacts or potential hail impacts.
Only 4? Okay.
Do what now?
It's only going to pick 4 out of that little square that you made?
It'll pick them all, but on the report, it will highlight the 4 that are the best representation.
Why 4?
Because it fit the paper. It fit the layout the easiest. We've got like a large overview.
You're showing off your best photos. I get it.
Yeah.
Now, would you be able to tell from this report?
You want to go off the worst ones?
Like when you highlight it to confirm. Now you have your confidence score all the way down in a lot of these too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you raise that confidence score up, then it is giving a higher AI confidence rating on the stuff that it still has marked at that point as saying that it was caused by hail.
Right.
So,
I am going to look and see if I can find one that's got, okay. So here, yes, there's a lot. I could easily turn it up to 50.
And they just start, and then it shows only the stuff that it really feels like is very high confidence caused by hail. Or is it high confidence that it's an anomaly?
That it's an anomaly. It's not, the system is not going to be able to determine if hail hit it or if it's a blister or something else. That's not what AI is for. AI is to help speed up your inspection. It's not going to get stuff overturned because it's trained by humans, right? You take these pictures, and if you can't physically see it there, the system's not going to pull it out and mark it. It's just, it's doing a quick scan, highlighting areas that it wants you to look at.
So after you've done all this, what does your new report look like?
The new report comes out very similar, but this one does have a stitched ortho, has your anomalies, the write-up. And so everywhere that there was an anomaly tagged, it shows where the image was taken. If there was a test square, it shows where the test squares are.
Okay.
And then this is what when I was talking about, for me personally, just for documentation, I like being able to go back in a clean report and say, all right, that's this test square. Here's another hail impact. I went back and marked another test square with however many hail hits. And it shows you in reference to where it is on the roof.
Gotcha. You got the granule loss in the gutters. All right.
Yeah, we did have the granule loss in the gutters. And some more detailed shots. So this right here took me roughly 15 minutes to do instead of 2 or 3 while I was on site. Now we're down to the final 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think we've done a good representation of both of the inspections. You want to
there's
throw it
pros
out
and
to the
cons to it, right?
do what now?
You got some pros and cons here.
Let's go through those.
If I'm a roofer or an adjuster, public adjuster that is trying to represent the damage that's on there, I know I can represent the damage that I found easier than something that the drone is naming as an anomaly, just because I'm the one that did it. Now, if I'm a public adjuster and a contractor went out there, or somebody else sent an inspector out there, then you're talking about somebody else's photos. That argument goes out the window. The one thing that I think that Zeitview and any of the drones AI stuff has is the fact that it's a third party. It isn't me saying that that's hail. Now, you just showed that I could go in and actually confirm whether or not I believe it's hail or not. But I still can't mark a little spot and say that's an anomaly on that photo. The third party is showing me where the anomalies are for me to take a look. Having a third party say something is a lot easier to argue with than not having that. If I'm just giving my photos, then it could just be photos that I'm biased about. I am biased. I have an interest in the results of this claim, generally speaking. So having a third party show the exact same stuff or even additional things that I didn't show could be beneficial. My wife points out, do you need to have a drone license to use the drone?
Yes, you do.
And she's right. She's right. You have to have a drone license, even because it is commercial use. I don't know why there's a confusion on this, but there is. And that's easy to get, and it's totally worth getting. So get one.
You can always we'll throw my contact information on there. We've got all kinds of study material.
Yeah,
I can get you past that, no problem.
Super simple test. But once you have that and you have the drone to fly up there, it's cheap to have that third party opinion, and you can have it out right away, and it's going to help you do measurements. You got measurements going on with your roof already. Mm-hmm. You got weather data already, all in one. You're going to have to get those anyway. So if you're going to have to get it anyway, you could go with a company like Zeitview that has all that integrated into it. And like Phil said, do the exterior, get all your collateral damages, get your spatter marks, get all that kind of stuff in advance. And if you still want to get on the roof and do your own inspection, especially for one where it's iffy, like I think personally, this was a good example. Drones are going to be extremely obvious for obvious hail. It's going to be very useful for obvious hail when they're saying no. But if it's less than 3/4 inch, it's sometimes you just got to get up there and really take a look around to see what's going on. Personally, I think that with small hail like we had on this one, there was a benefit to getting up there. But your drone did pick up all the soft metals. And the way that those are installed, you're going to end up in the shingles anyway.
Yep.
Here's the thing that I think is going to be the problem for drones, though. You still have to identify what all the layers are. I still need to identify if it's repairable. I don't know if we're staying off the roof just yet, no matter what.
No, and I agree with that. I think that this is a tool that goes in your tool belt, just like anything else that assists you in your job. And it's how you use the tool, right? So if my goal for the day is to be able to get that inspection and be able to present enough information for the homeowner to say, all right, it's worth moving forward on a claim, then all right, great. It's a phenomenal tool for that. If I'm going against Matt in a very detailed, granular report, I would prefer to be on the roof for that.
I would prefer to have new guys use the drone right away than relying on their opinion of what hail is, because they're going to mark blisters. They are. Mm-hmm. Or anything. They might even, I've had new guys mark black granules because they were black. They thought that they were missing. It was just a black granule. That's how bad it was. So, I mean, there's going to be an argument with a small hail either way. Being able to write a report that talks about, what is considered damage, and I think that that's something that most people don't do, and they need to. So if you're watching this and you just want a nugget, biggest nugget you can have if you're doing your own manual inspections, drone or not, is to define damage, what it is that you were looking for. Carriers do it, engineers do it. You need to do it too. Because if you can say you're looking for granular displacement caused by hail, and you're identifying that as hail damage, now they'll have to actually respond to that. I think that's huge. I can tell you this, having drones, using drones myself, while also having inspections that are detailed like this, it's a second opinion that is also showing that there's hail. It's a third party. It's additional opinion without having to hire a ladder assist or an engineer. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than doing that.
It's a hell of a lot cheaper.
A hell of a lot cheaper. And if you're already going to have roof measurements and you're already going to have weather data already attached to it, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't use this every time. Got to get your drone license.
I want to add one piece in here, Matt, that is, I definitely don't want to forget about this. One of our partners is Claim Connection, that we're able to go in once you've done this inspection. You're able to send it directly from the dash right there to your Claim Connection account. They can get you a cost estimation on like an Xactimate or a Symbility to prepare you. And it's not going to have everything because they are just going off of drone images, but it's going to get you 95% of the way there. And so now I've got an idea of scope, what it's going to cost, and I can go and sit down and talk to either the homeowner, the adjuster when we're on site, say, this is what we came up with. All of that is done. And what we had that before we walked off site from Claim Connection. So having that total package right there, you're going to kill them with information, but I mean, it's all good information. And it will also help, give an idea to the homeowner on what we need to replace, how much it's going to cost. Do we need, how much is my deductible, all of that fun stuff that needs to be talked about, but you've got a dollar figure in front of them. So it makes things a lot easier when I'm looking at $20,000.
That's a good point. And everything that's built in like that definitely also just saves time and money. So all that being built in is fabulous. I do my inspection like this. I have to go back. I have to write my report, even if it's just a one pager, which is usually is for this kind of damage. That's going to take me another 20 minutes or so. I got to put all that together into a package PDF. I also have to get my measurements. I have to write my estimate, and I need to get storm data as a part of that one pager report anyway. So as I go through all of that stuff, I'm adding time. It was an hour and a half investigation. I'm probably 3 hours in by the time I'm actually done with the report, having gotten all those things. And I'm still spending money on the weather data, still spending money on some kind of a measurement tool, whatever that might be. So I still have to estimate it. Now my estimate is scoped out probably better. My report is probably better, but there's absolutely no reason not to have a report like that and then also have a third party saying that there's hail damage up there as well. I think that that's actually super beneficial. And then I get to check off my storm data and my measurement tools and all that. I don't have to do all of that together. So by adding 10 minutes of my inspection, pushing a button, letting the drone fly, and then afterwards, after I do my full inspection anyway, which I still like to do, and I'm still going to do, and I still do, I still have that drone report, and it gave me all the other additional information that I'm going to need anyway. So I actually save time.
You save a lot of time. Yeah, you save a lot of time.
Who is there a winner here? I don't know if there's a winner.
I think we're still at again, it depends on what you're going for. Depends on what you're going for, what you're using the tool for.
I think those tools.
I definitely see something, I definitely see where it should be used in both cases.
I think, you're right. So it's there's no clear winner.
That stinks. We gotta have a winner.
Unless time is, you won time. You won time by a lot as far as the amount of time it took. So right after a major storm, I'm not inspecting roofs right after a major storm manually. I'm going to fly a drone. I'm going to give a quick report. I'm going to sell as much as I can.
Oh yeah. And I tell you, if that point, you see right here behind me.
Yeah.
With ours, you can do entire neighborhoods.
I can't do that in a day.
No.
A drone could.
About 45 minutes.
There are times when that will be more important. And then you get involved in a claim that's already been denied. The very detailed inspection is going to end up being more important.
Exactly.
So there's a give and take in all of this. They're both tools. I think for time, the clear winner is Zeitview. For detail and accuracy, well, I mean, accuracy is subjective there, but I'm biased. But I think that I'm probably more accurate.
I'll give you that.
Definitely a much more detailed report, especially if I actually write my one pager to go along with it. I've got collateral, I've got spatter, but you can do both and have the best of both worlds.
Yep.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
I
that
guess
was a hour.
there is no winner. Is it a draw?
No, I'm not going to accept that.
I don't know. I'm going to claim it maybe. Phil, I appreciate you being on. When does that video drop?
It'll be in a couple weeks. We'll trim it up, make it clean, make it look good for everybody, and we'll send it out. But again, special thanks to Feasel for hosting us, allowing us out on one of their projects. Claim Connection, the support that they've been able to give us is awesome. Their exact mates are second to none, in my opinion. You got Matt. Thank you so much for taking the time to help with this. This is something that the industry needed. We needed validation from the best, right? Who's the guy that's up there that, hey, if you're training people on how to do inspections, you are biased towards that.
I'm good.
And you're good.
There's people out there that are better than me for sure. I would never call myself the best.
They're probably faster. I don't know if they're better, but
there's definitely people out there with more experience and everything than me. But anyway, thanks a lot. All right. Special thanks to our sponsors, Claim Titan. If you're a public adjuster, they are a CRM for public adjusters that's actually really good. I got Ink Payments. Actually, have a little commercial I'm going to play for them real quick.
Accessing your insurance proceeds after a property claim is approved should be fast and easy. Who has time to run around for check endorsements, fill out confusing paperwork, or stay in regular contact with the mortgage company to ensure timely disbursements? That's why there's Ink Payments. Ink Payments allows you to digitally endorse multi-party checks and direct funds to restoration professionals in seconds. Just snap a picture of the check, upload it to Ink, provide a few details, and we'll take care of the rest. Ink.
I wish Ink existed when I had a PA firm, because I had a whole department for that shit. And I got to tell you, it was a lot of money to run a department doing that. Ink is actually cheaper than me doing it myself, and they would have taken all that hassle off of me. And they already have all the mortgage companies. They've got all the processes down with them. It's actually really impressive. Building Experts Institute is going to be at RoofCon. We dropped the wind damage course, but we have a new one coming out, so I got another quick commercial.
Hey, this is Phil Nafziger. Welcome to the installation of asphalt shingle roofs course. Throughout this course, we will guide you through the comprehensive process of correctly installing asphalt shingle roofs. From the essential steps of underlayment and shingle stagger to the finer points of flashing details and nail placement, we've got you covered.
Very excited to have that course up there, really establish, a baseline. This is what it's supposed to look like. You can identify whether it's that way or not. Hook Agency, we talked about earlier today, American Policyholder Association is still out there fighting fraud against insurance companies. You see them at RoofCon in the next few days, and Huggins Law Firm, Remington is actually going to be out there too. If you guys are going to be at RoofCon, throw it in the comments. Let me know. So come by the Listen to This Bull booth. We're going to be shooting the hail cannon. We're shooting shingles, we're shooting TVs, we're shooting watermelons, and we're shooting facsimiles of human bodies. For real. That's happening. It's going to be awesome. So we're right out front. As soon as you walk in the door, There is the Building Experts Institute breakout room where we're going to talk about how everything you know about hail and wind is bullshit. So that breakout session is Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Don't miss that one. That'll be good.
Yeah. So you
All right.
can go get tattoos and then go shoot guns.
You can get, yeah.
Man, I'll see you down there tomorrow.
Maybe we should give that facsimile of a human body a tattoo. That would be
Maybe we should.
Mm.
Maybe we should. Buddy, I appreciate everything. I'll see you down there.
All right. Have a good one, guys. See you next time.